Hi, in today's conversation with me, Irene Wanjiru, today's topic is a very interesting topic. And why it's interesting? Because people talk about it every day, every day. And my topic today is about sex. Yes, sex. And the reason as to why I've picked this topic, it's because there's so many questions from people that why would I not talk about it? And today I said I will talk about it because it is a topic that people might think they know. Some do, some don't. Some assume, some think that they know what they are talking about. But today we want to learn. Actually, it's about learning. I have things that I've written down and we are going to talk about them today. It's like an introductory topic that we will continue. It's not going to be only in this show, but it's going to be a continuous topic. So today I would want to ask, what is sex? And when I look at Google, when I went to Google and checked on and check what is sex, it gave me two explanations. There is the intercourse part and the explanation of how you define between a man and a woman. We say the sex of a man is male or female. So those are two of the explanations that gave me the definitions of sex. But today I don't want to talk about a male and a female. I want to talk about sex, the intercourse itself. And I want to ask, what are the benefits also? The benefits, there are so many. But I got a little bit of them that I would want us to understand. One of it is it lowers blood pressure. Yes, it does. It betters your immune system. It improves your self-esteem. There are people whose self-esteem, yani inakuwaga chini mpaka, they don't know how to do it. This is one way of doing it. It decreases depression and anxiety. It betters your sleep. It in everything that you do, this is an overall. It reduces stress, both psychologically and emotionally. So the reason as to why I've put the benefits is because I want us to understand why you would engage in sex and why you will not engage in sex. But now there is where I draw the line with these benefits. You don't do them because you want to you want to better your sleep. No. Sex is something that needs to be respected. First of all, let's start there. Because if you do this and say, sulisema inafanya nalala poa and all that, will be misusing sex. And that is where I want to come to my next pointer. My next pointer is things that come with sex. As much as this comes with sex, do you know there are other things that comes with sex? And other things that comes with sex is babies, diseases, pleasure, good and bad spiritual connection. As we continue, let me remind you, we are in the YouTube, and I would like to request you to like, share, subscribe, and also hit the notification bell so that you can be able to get more of our videos. So as we continue with this topic of sex, I said that there are other benefits. Apart from the exercise and everything psychologically, it reduces pressure and all that, there are other things. Sex also brings babies. In our last topic, we were talking about parenthood and the things that come with parenthood. And we said babies. So even sex brings babies. Because when you're indulging in sexual intercourse, there are things that you also avoid, because when a woman is using birth controls, they want to prevent from having babies. But let me tell you, as you continue to do this, you're also endangering your life, because as you're not going to use birth controls, you'll still get a baby. Another thing is the disease. Diseases are things that will continue having either you're having sex or not, but just to know there are things that come with sex. There are diseases that come with sex. The pleasure is something that I would say it's what most of the people do right now, because some people just do it for pleasure, and that is where we want to also talk about mostly, because this pleasure, is it something that you're going to gain after today? Is it something that you're going to not gain? So it's also a reason as to why we are talking about this topic. Good and bad spiritual connection. Kwanza hii kwanza ndio, I think it is the mother of everything. So as we continue, I want us to understand why I am doing this topic. The good and bad spiritual connections. There is a post I saw on social media, and this post was, as you indulge yourself in sex, do you know there are things that you carry from, because it's a spiritual thing. There are things that you carry from your partner, either good. Let's not even focus on the bad, because that post was only focusing on the bad. Oh, mtu ni mlevi, umebeba your spirit ya ulevi nae, it drains you and all that. Yes, there are bad things that you carry and there are good things that you carry, but how do you know you do that? We don't know. So eventually you have a good star or a good spiritual background in your life, but you end up carrying these things because you do not know. That is how sexual intercourse is. So as we continue, let us open our mind, and as we open our mind on this topic, tusikae tu tukiangalia on a very bad angle. We also need to look at it on a good angle, because there's somebody who will come. Someone told me you might be in a position where you're going to get married kwa mzungu, and they don't have all these things that Africans have, and it's going to neutralize your bloodline, which is, it's a good thing, but also how many people want to be married by the mzungu? How many? So we still need to deal with this thing. So as we continue to topic, I wanted to share like two of maybe two or three verses in the Bible. But before we do that, we'd like to take a small break so that we can be able to look at the things that I've said. So when we come back, we'll continue with this. So like, share, hit the notification button, tell somebody also. Tell them there is a YouTube channel about today's life, today's conversation with myself, Irene Wanjiru. In today's life, today's conversation with me, Irene Wanjiru, I want to welcome you back. But before I do that, I would like you to share, like, hit the notification button, subscribe, tell somebody to tell somebody to tell somebody, because it's all about you. Our topic today was about sex, and we started with what is sex. We talked a few benefits of sex, and then we also wanted to continue with where we would also give other pointers as to things that come with sex. I want to start with, because this is how you're going to understand this. And first of all, we want to say, what are the things that come with sex? We mention them randomly, but then we want to outline them in the right way. First of the things that comes with sex, it's pleasure. Kila mtu anafurahianga topic ya sex because of the pleasure that comes with, good and bad. But in this pleasure, we all have good experiences and bad experiences. It's not all that pleasures that come with sex that is something we say, nilibambika, kuna zile. We are told that in a relationship or in marriage or whatever you're doing, we need to give feedback. Feedback is very important for you to be able to know that kama ilikubamba ama iko kubamba, or is it something that was good or not, because you will end up doing the same mistake and yet it wasn't pleasure. Maybe for you it was pleasure, maybe for your partner it wasn't. So when we look at pleasure, what are we talking about? Is it something that you will get to like? Is it something that you will want to do with this person as you continue? Because what I understand is pleasure, especially for the married couples, it's something that needs to continue, because this is, you two are married, are in a relationship, and in this marriage hamuachani. Let's be positive in this point. Let's say wako hapo wameka, they are going to 5 years, 6 years, and they're even looking for more than 10 years. So this pleasure should be a plus for them. That's why pleasure should be a positive thing. In a relationship, when you're starting a relationship, are you doing it so that ukitoka hapo kesho uko na mtu mwingine, or do you want to do it to help somebody, or you want to help yourself? What is pleasure to you? The next pointer is, after pleasure, ukifurahia usikie poa. Do you know that it comes with babies? For those that do not take birth controls, or those that don't know how to control themselves, because watoi ni kitu ukuja, wengine wanakujaga wamepangwa, wengine they come even without being planned. And today I would want to ask people, as that baby that you have or you are having, is it something that came with the right way, or is it something that ulishtuke ukona mtoi? Most of us have babies, or most of the babies that are born, it's because we have not planned. And when I looked at our topic that we had in the last show, we talked about when you are in a relationship or in a marriage, because after marriage, then babies come. Are these babies that are coming, ni watoto mmepangia ama hujapangia? So sex after pleasure, they will come or they might not come. So we want to look at all angles, positive and negative. Then there is another pointer that I had not mentioned earlier, is when you have intercourse, there is there is where the man gives you the sperm. If you have one a partner, that partner, they will be giving their sperm to you. So it is something positive which will help you. But assume you're having multiple partners. Do you want to tell me it is something good? Because you're combining yourself to things that you don't know about. There are people who take care of themselves. There are people who do not take care of themselves. So this is where now it joins us to diseases. Because when you are having multiple partners, then you will end up getting diseases. And we are not talking about HIV peke yake. No, there are gonorrhea, syphilis. There is a lot. Watu wana focus na HIV, when yet there is a lot of other diseases that we encounter or we get when we are having sexual intercourse. Kwa wanawake, they know you might get infection. And there are some infections, yes, niza, maybe umetumia choo vibaya, maybe you are not using the right panties and all that. But let me tell you, most of them comes because of the sexual intercourse, because you are having multiple partners. Tukubaliane hiyo. Then let's go to the most important part, where for me, I look at it in a very different angle. The good and the bad spiritual connections. Hinayo watu wengi hawajui. And this is where I want to go deep on, because the good and the bad spiritual, umepata hiyo jina spiritual, that is where the point is. There is so much that we get or we give when we are having sex, especially spiritually. Wachana na pleasure, watoto na magonjwa. The spiritual part is where most of the people don't understand. And if you are in a church where you can be able to, or you study, because it's not only in the church that you can get all this information, you can be a person who likes to study. You can understand when I'm saying about spiritual. I want to read 2 or 3 verses so that we can understand what am I talking. Is it something that I myself is thinking about, or is it something that people are getting it? As we continue, please like, share, subscribe, and also hit the notification bell. And as we also tell somebody, call somebody, tell them, let's listen to these topics, and it's going to help you. I want to share Genesis 2:24, and this is what it says. It says that is why a man leaves his father and mother and is united to his wife and they become one flesh. Umesikia? Unatoka kwa baba yako, mwingine anatoka kwa baba yake, mnakutana mnakuwa kitu kimoja. So it tells us we are supposed to be one thing for this thing to happen. That is just an intro. Let me say this, that Genesis 2:24. Even when people are being joined in church, the pastor or whoever is joining you will always mention this, that a man leaves his father and mother, a woman leaves his mother and father to become one. Genesis 1:28, and these two verses are from Genesis, yani the beginning of the Bible. Genesis 1:28 says, God blessed them and said to them, be fruitful and increase in number, fill the earth and subdue it. This is after creating male, and which was Adam and Eve, wakiwa bibi na bwana, because God created Eve for Adam to become husband and wife, not anything else, for companionship, for procreation and everything else. So personally, pangu, I would say it was a husband and wife thing. Let's go to another verse. Hebrew 13:4. It is said, marriage should be honored by all. The marriage bed kept pure for God will judge the adulterous and all the sexual immoralities. Hiyo si mimi nimesema, mimi nasema tu kulingana na venye Biblia imesema. So personally, I would say marriage should be honored. My last and strong verse comes from 1 Corinthians chapter 7 verses 3-5. The husband should fulfill his marital duties to his wife. Likewise, the wife to her husband. The wife does not have authority over her own body, but yields it to her husband. In the same way, his own body must be yielded to his wife. So ninipe nikupe. Do not deprive each other, except perhaps by mutual consent, and for a time, so that you may devote yourself to prayers. Then come together again, so that Satan will not tempt you because because of your lack of self-control. So God knows people will have lack of self-control, and that is why sex is important to God, not only to humanity, even to God. That is why in the beginning kuna you and me as a man and a woman, husband and wife, not just any person, not any random person that you meet in the streets. Let's get this clear. Not any random person that you get in the streets. And when I was talking on my last pointer, which was the good and bad spiritual, this is where we come from. Because if you look at God, God did not say, when you meet somebody in the street, say hi and combine and start having sex. He said marriage. And this is where the devil is seated. And right now, if you look at the society that we are living in, marriage is being beat, yani inapigwa vita. Because you will find most people, even there is a song yesterday, I don't know if it's yesterday or the other day, I was saying, it is saying, heri mapenzi kaime nisimame. Because people are not even talking about real love. We are not talking about real things that we are talking. We are just emulating some things that we are going on. And in everything that we do, sex is the number one topic. Because you'll get in most of the people that conversations are going, even right now. I'm telling you, there is somebody somewhere looking at me and asema, kwani unaongea juu yangu? Yes, I'm talking about you. Because we are engaging in sex, not knowing that it might be a good thing or a bad thing for you. If you're in marriage, I'm not even saying anything. I'm just saying do it. And don't deny your husband or your wife, because God is against that. Usifanye bibi yako aende nje, na usifanye bwanako aende nje because you're giving an excuse, oh mimi nimechoka. When you're getting into marriage, you knew, my friend, you knew that this thing is going to continue. It's a continuous thing. It's not like today nataka kesho sitaki. Give your husband and your wife the right conjugal rights. Na usimnyime, kwa sababu when we are talking about kunyimana, there are people right now, you're looking at me and you're looking at each other, udem kwani alikuwa kwa hawetu. No, I was not there. It's God who has sent me today to tell you, don't fight over sex. Fight about money. Yes, that it's allowed, because maybe you're not giving your wife upkeep or you're not doing the right things in the house, but do not. It is a sacred thing and it is something that God has blessed. So today, this topic is for you and me, so that you can understand sex is not for everybody. It's not for a boy who is coming from school. Mtoya ametoka shule ako form 2 ama. You are still a kid, my friend. Focus on the right things. Because if you're in school and you're indulging in sex right now, trust you me, in the next years to come, you will not be talking about, you will not even understand why sex has to be sacred and important in your life. As we continue, I want to go to where questions are being asked. And I've had so many questions about this whole topic. I just wanted us to understand, where am I coming from and where am I going? So as we continue, I want us to take a little breather, a little bit. Kidogo tu. I know you want a breather. Let's take a breather. As you take a breather, like, share, subscribe, and even hit the notification button and tell somebody. In today's life, today's conversation with me, Irene Wanjiru. In today's life, today's conversation with myself, Irene Wanjiru, we are back with the topic sex. Yes. We had started with the explanation, the benefits, and even read a few biblical verses to expound on this topic. I want to take questions because this topic is something that I've been asked by so many people to talk about it and how they view it and how it's affecting the society and how it's affecting you and me and how it's affecting even the nation. The whole world is being affected by sex. So the first question was, how does the society deal with sex? And if I look at this question is, where do we come from and how do we look at sex? Because the society at large is you and me. Where I come from and where you come from, we have a different angle of how we explain sex. We come from a place where either it's a taboo to talk about sex, or we can talk about it freely. But today's society, I believe that everybody, even the children, they talk about it, because songs, movies, everywhere we are talking about these things. In matatus, in parks, in schools also, they are talking about it. So how do we deal with this? When you hear the sex topic, do you close your ears or do you, for me, I would say the society should deal with the topic in an open way. Like we're supposed to be talking in the houses, in school, in churches, in the mosque, everywhere. This topic needs to be an open book. It's not something that should be hidden, because when we hide things, we are told curiosity killed the cat. And you know why it killed the cat? Because he was looking, or she was looking, what that hata mtoto, even in your own house, when you tell a child not to eat something or do something, they are curious. Mbona mam ama dada ananiambia nisikafanye hii kitu? So that is the reason as to why the society should talk about it. When people talk about things and people know it, even in life, let's say in life, God punishes those who know. Mungu hata wewe utapunish mtoto wako because I told you not to do this thing and you went ahead on doing it. So you will deal with it differently. It's the same even with God. He will punish you because he has told us, like, sex is not something that supposed to be being misused. So the society should talk about it. That's how we are supposed to deal with this topic. How does the society embrace sex nowadays? If I look at how we embrace the society today embrace sex, we embrace sex like a joke. Yes, most of the people take sex as a joke, like, let's get done with it. Let's join hands, and it's like a community work that we are doing. We are looking at sex like something that we are about to explore every other day, instead of looking at sex as something that we are not supposed to explore. Yani, when you're talking about sex and when you're doing you need to think. And we also need to understand, when we are talking about sex, which age and how are we supposed to talk to. Yani, wakati unanizungumzia mimi kama mtu mzima about sex, you need not to expound it to somebody who is age yake iko chini. I believe a 5-year-old will not understand this topic, but they already know there is something called sex. So there is a way you also look this topic on age matters, because even the 5-year-old needs to understand, because wanajua. So when we are looking at it and embracing it, first as a person, you need to embrace it. You need to know how to deal with it. You need to know how to speak about it. You need to know where to speak, because sex, you just don't open your mouth in the streets and start shouting, oh, sex, oh, no. Sex is something that you look at it and see, where can I talk this topic? If it's for your children, sit them when they are relaxed and when they are in a position to understand, okay, today we want to talk about this topic, and I know, and let them also talk about it. If it is your teenage children, let them also be ready to embrace it, because they will understand when it's being embraced. How does the society teach about sex? Yes, how do we teach it? Do we, I look at where I come from and how my mother used to talk about sex. Yeah, nilikuwa nasikia sex na kimbia, because my mother was talking about sex very negatively. Utapata mimba, utapata ugonjwa. Like, what? I was like, oh, what is this? But even after, even being told that, as you fear, you also think like, kwa nini kijaribu mara moja? You never know. If you try that once, maybe it is going to mess your life for the rest of your life. There are people who today, I know of people today that have tried sex and it was their first time, and they speak about it so badly. They say, oh, niligonjeka, oh, sijui nini, oh, yani, people talk about it in a way that their people don't even want to hear this topic, because it has messed their lives. So in how you're teaching this sex, you need to teach it in angles that, what is the right age for somebody to indulge in sex? What is the right age? And this is where you want to tell your child, akizaliwa, akigrow, when you know their understanding, tell them the right age. Ndio akifanya juu amefanya makosa. What pushes you to have sex? You as a human being. Because we are all mammals. There are mammals in the forest. There are mammals which we are mammals with understanding to know, is it the right time to have sex? What is pushing me to have sex? And what is the plan of God for you as a mankind when you're talking about sex or having sex intercourse? We need to expound on that. And the first thing, the right age. My right age is not your right age. Is not everybody's right age. But in the life, even in every aspect of life, you can't tell me a 15-year-old is the right age to have sex. No, it is not. You can't. That is still a child who needs to understand about sex, needs to study about sex. You need to teach them. sexy kitu yati ataenda kuchukua kitabu ata understand, but when you teach it, it is something that has to be taught. The push. Most of our children today, and I can say this, even adults, we are pushed to have sex because friends, alcohol, you want to please others, you want to put a word outside there, I'm having sex, videos, movies. You are looking at the lifestyle that we are living today and you think it is a push for you. I look at some of the kids, they want to fit in. Even adults, we want to fit in. Or even there are people who don't want to say ni virgins, because that topic, ukicheza utakab, you will be excommunicated from friends. Yani people don't want. Squeezing ni kupiga kifua, mimi ni bazuu, mimi najua, ama dem, unaniambia nini, mimi ndio ninawafanyia kila kitu. This topic of sex, don't boast about it one day. Squeezing unalia peke yako. You're not going to go back to those people and explain to them how you did it. They will look at you, and there is an age, let me tell you for a fact, there is an age right now. Sex is not a topic. People are talking about how they are going to establish themselves, how they are going to do bigger things in their lives, how they are going to build, how they are going to have good house, how they are going to take their kids in better schools. So itafika mahali ukienda kwa hiyo group upate watu wamekata waweza kuambia unajua, they will look at you like what ni nini unatuambia. So it is not going to be important at some point. Right now you look at it, it's the only topic. It's not the only topic. You need to think about. Yesterday I was looking at somebody in their 26-year-old. They have accomplished a lot. Yani yeye ni CEO, they have done a lot of things. Yes, I know they talk about sex, but I think that is not the major topic. So let's get to a point where to understand that, can we avoid this topic of sex to each and everybody? Because when I entertain anybody that comes to me and we are only talking about sex, that is going to be deliberately the only thing that we are going to talk about. And another thing is, there's somebody who said, where there is 5 blessed people, you are the 6th blessed person. Where there is 5 stupid people, you are the 6th stupid person, because you are who you explain yourself to be. So I think this topic of how the society takes it and how it is, we need to look at it in a way that everybody in society, the school, the church, the mosque, even the president needs to talk about this topic, because there are things that are happening even in our own homes that we can be able. I think if I would request the president, if we can have an institution that can teach people in the right way, like unajua shule, they only have topics in syllabus, they will not talk about. We need to have institutions where we can. It's also a place that we are going to employ people. There are people who understand this topic in depth, and we are missing out in this society. We are missing out in our kids today, when they leave school, these are the places that we need to enroll them. The churches, what are we doing about this sex topic? Are we telling our kids, God does not want, utaniambiaje nisifanye kitu yenye Mungu amesema lakini si understand? Let the churches talk about this topic. There is a lady pastor in Tanzania who was talking about this topic, and people, we kazi yako ni kuongelelea sex. Let me tell you, my friend, my brother, my sister, everybody who's watching me, this topic is really important, because most women, most men, most children are getting lost in this topic because we are not talking about it. Yani tumejifungia kwa mabedroom, kwa manyumba, kwa makazi zetu, and yet every day some people, most of the people on social media are talking about it hidden and in the wrong way. Can we sit and agree it's a topic? It's a national disaster. Yes, it is. Because our children are dying in this thing. Because most of them will go out to drink. What is the next thing? I look at children. If you would go out in the morning, like weekends in the morning, 6 o'clock. Wale watu utakutana nao ni watoto. Wengine, they are dressed in a way, if you ask, do you have a parent? They will tell you, yes, they do. But vile amerudi ameva, you will say there is no parent. So we are not talking about this. And my personal view about this topic, how do I talk about topic? Personally, myself, I talk about this topic with passion because I've seen people die. I've seen friends who are battling HIV. I've seen friends who are battling being a parent at a young age because they indulge themselves in sex, not understanding. They thought sex was the only thing they could run away from. So for me personally, I don't want to say it is something that I don't have passion with. I have a passion with. And those people who I talk to on one-on-one, they know I start with sex. And I tell you to stop it because it is not something that is going to get you a certificate or a PhD or at the body count. I see people asking about how many body counts do you have? So, okay, you have 20 or 30 and you are looking for a husband, surely. Akikusema tu kweli. You also are a man. You're looking for a wife with 50 body counts. Mini kijua, by the way, we wouldn't have this topic because we will try to remove this topic of body counts. Let's not even go there because body count is not an achievement. Yes, it's not an achievement. It's destroying you. Assume you had 10 partners and all of them wako na spirit mbaya mbaya ya ulevi, mwingine ni muizi, wewe mwenyewe unashindwa, why are you not making it in life? Able, look at your sexual life. Look at what you have indulged yourself in on previously and look at yourself now. That is why I say sex is a topic that we should not shun away of talking. Talk to your children. Don't let your children go outside and look for somebody to tell them, because the people who they will find or they will meet, they will tell them to indulge first so that they can talk. Hawataongea kwanza, indulge. So sex, personally, from me, it's something that we need. Actually, I am praying that we will continue talking on this show about sex as we continue. How do you control sex? Or how can you control sex? How can you control sex is something that we can all do because, like I say, sex is not an addiction. It's something that we learn to do. So today, if it's something that is in you, please, it's either you start dealing with it on a personal level, start getting somebody to help you. There are counselors, there are spiritual people in your life that can help you to pray about it. Some is addiction. Yani umekuwa, you can't sleep, you can't think, you can't plan anything because of the things that are going in your head. Stop watching pornography. Yes, pornography is something that will push you to want to indulge yourself in sex. Stop going to social media. The only thing that you look is women bodies, men bodies. Alafu, after that, what do you want? You want to assume that nothing happened. Everything will happen. Your mind starts, then your body feels, and then the action happens. So it starts where you see and you hear, because even when you want a positive person to talk to you, you have to listen to them. You have to see what they are doing, because you can't tell me you will stop sex when you are going ahead looking at videos that will entice you to do that. So it starts with what you see and what you hear. Let's control that first, then we can continue with this topic. In marriage, this is where the problem is, but this we will expound it in our next show, because I will have a guest and we will talk about this, because marriages are suffering. Yes, they are suffering because of what? Of sex. I've read 1 Corinthians where it has said tusinyimane, but if you look at marriages, that is where this happens. I'm sorry to use this word, but most people are going into lesbianism and gayism because of lack of sex in their marriages. They want to expound outside because of what they are not getting in their marriages. Yes, hii topic tutaiendelea ya marriage and sex together in our next show. Do we have a solution? Yes, we do. I said in every topic that I say, there is always a solution. Let's start doing by, first of all, doing things right, and also thinking about how we are going to do this. In our today's life, today's conversation with I, myself, Irene Wanjiru, let's take a short break and then we will wind up. In today's life, today's conversation with me, Irene Wanjiru, as we wind up in our topic today, please like, share, subscribe, tell someone, hit the notification button. Let's talk, let's indulge, let's free ourselves, because talking gets a lot of solutions. So we want to wind up in this topic. And it's not winding forever. We just started today. This was the beginning of this topic. It's a wide topic. It's something that we'll continue talking about it in this show. And my conclusion on all this, we need to get a solution. And what's the solution? The solution is, can we start by talking? Talking brings a lot, because even in your own house, when you want to know there is a problem, you start by talking. You call your husband and your wife and say, babe, you know, there is this and that. If your child is misbehaving, sit them down. You start by talking. So we want to get this topic by start talking. I think we need to start doing campaigns of let's talk. There is a song a friend of mine was saying, let's talk about sex, baby. Not in that direction, but I think we need to have those campaigns of let's talk about sex, because we are going to go to a different level of talking about sex. Another thing, we need to involve experts. We need to involve experts in all angles. There are people who have studied this thing deeply. They have PhDs, degrees, even if it's a certificate, they have gone to school to study that. They know the psychology. Myself, I've done psychology, and I will sit with somebody, understand where they're coming from and how they are thinking their mind off. So let's continue with also experts in this. We can also start with campaigns. Dear Mr. President Ruto, I would request you, can you involve the youth with campaigns with capability buildings of talking about sexuality, STDs, HIV. We can involve these people outside there. They have information. They talk about STD. There are so many people don't know what STDs are, HIV. They see it, but they want somebody to teach them. They want somebody to talk about them. They want to see that person, because sometimes seeing is believing. There are people who have HIV and they are so ready to talk about their lives and how they ended up. We need to create this. So, Mr. President, I know somebody will get to you and give us chances to create campaigns to talk about sex, because we need to stop this. We need to stop. Our children are suffering. Our young adults are suffering. Even us as adults, we don't assume everything is okay. Mr. President, you need us. We need you. We need people to be sober when they are doing the right thing for this country. We cannot talk about any other thing if we are not focused as a country. We need to start all these things by talking. And I would also want to open this platform. I am here for each and every person. I am here to encourage somebody, not only on the show. I am here for the schools that want somebody to come and talk to the young girls, the young men, the young people in maybe in institutions like colleges, universities. Let me say, universities. This thing is being blown like fire. And I have information of how it's being blown by fire, like fire, because these people are indulging in unsafe sex. There are so many people who are coming out of universities when they are HIV positive, when they are pregnant, abortions, STDs, and they don't know how to deal with these things. So
those who are in charge of institutions, we are here. We are ready to bring this thing in your institutions. We are ready to come and talk about it. We are ready to gather a group so that we can be able to stand and say, you know what, no to sex until the right time. Churches, our churches. Yes, I'm in a church and we speak about it. So I want to open this as an open thing to the churches. Please, if you can't talk about it, we are here to help these churches. You can have your small units where they have people in holidays or where they want to do campaigns. We can talk about this. So as I conclude this, I want to say, let's start by talking. It is healthy. It is not a sin. It is not a sin at all to continue and still talk about sex. Watch me in my next show. I'm going to have a visitor who we will expound more and talk about it, especially with the married team. Be blessed, my people. Continue watching our show. We have shows. It's only that sometimes if you don't see us posting, we are preparing something good for you. We are preparing something beautiful and wonderful for you. In our today's life, today's conversation with myself, Irene Wanjiru. Be blessed and continue watching us. Like the show, subscribe, share it with somebody, and hit the notification button. Be blessed.